Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing a review today on the Citizen Tsuyosa Small Seconds. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at first I didn't think that I was gonna like this watch, but I was pleasantly surprised. I wore this watch every day for a little over a week and a half, and I put it through this daily driver test that I made up to answer the question, can this watch be an everyday watch? Is it a good daily driver? Maybe you're looking at this watch and asking yourself the same question, so hopefully this video answers it for you. Alright, so what is this daily driver test? Well, this daily driver test is going to go through the design of the watch, the wear experience of the watch, the movement, and of course the legibility, which are all things that I consider to be crucial for a good daily driver. The score is going to be out of 100, so let's see how the Citizen Tsuyosa does on this daily driver test, and could this be your next daily driver? And just really quick before we start the video, right now I'm wearing a Casio tank. This is a JDM release from Casio. I thought it was a really cool little piece, and I was gonna do a video review on it comparing it to an actual tank, but then I realized it's a totally different watch. It's a totally different experience. So if you're interested in this little small affordable tank from Casio, then stick around for that video. Maybe you'll like it. Anyway, on to the review, you guys. So starting off with the dimensions of the watch, case size 40 millimeters, lug to lug of 45 millimeters, but because of the end links, these end links don't articulate, so it ends up being around 50 millimeters. Heads up with those who have smaller wrist. Thickness of 12.2 millimeters, lug width 22 millimeters on the exterior, but that center lug is going to be about 13 millimeters. All in all, score of 4, which is pretty good for the dimensions. Moving on to the case shape and the finish. So Citizen is following this recent trend of 70s aesthetics with this like barrel-like case shape. And compared to the PRX, you can tell that Citizen tried to meet somewhere in the middle of that traditional rounded look and the integrated bracelet look. Mirror polished on the sides and chamfered edges transitioning to the brushed surface on top of the case. See-through case back, so you can see that caliber 8322 Citizen Miyota movement. This is Citizen's own movement brand. You can see that they have some blued screws and Geneva stripes on the movement. It's pretty nice. I like that the rotor is hollowed out so that you can really enjoy that movement. Case shape and finish going to be a score of 4, which is pretty good. Crown, score of 2. Definitely needs improvement. Crown is sitting at the 4 o'clock position. It is not signed and not screw down crown on this one. The biggest downside of the crown, in my opinion, is the size being just a little bit too small and also being too recessed into the case. It makes it kind of hard to manually wind the watch, and it's just a bit awkward to set the time. Presidential style integrated bracelet with those center links polished, and it is quick release. Honestly, the bracelet is one of the biggest points of contention of this watch. Some people like that it is a presidential style bracelet. Others like the previous bracelet that Citizen used. I'm still on the fence though about it being the best choice for this watch. Don't get me wrong, personally I love a good presidential style bracelet, and actually compared to the previous Tsuyosa model, they made those center links a lot larger, and I think that was a smart move by Citizen because the bracelet integrates so much better into the watch now. Before, because of the sharp angular shape of that case, the roundness of the presidential bracelet, it became pretty obvious. But on this model, since the lugs are smaller, it's not as noticeable. However, I wish they added a taper to this bracelet. It does use cotter pins on the link, so fairly easy to size the bracelet. Milled butterfly clasp, so no micro adjust. They do include half links, but they're slightly too close to regular links. You can get a nice fit, you just have to play around a little bit to see what works. So giving it a score of 3 for the bracelet, getting away with it. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist. I really like the way that this watch looks. I think it is a great piece by Citizen. Crystal is sapphire with anti-reflective coating. And now let's talk about the dial. Pretty clear that Citizen drew inspiration from the Rolex Oyster Perpetual with the original. This one still has that Rolex DNA in it with those applied hour markers and faceted hands. This time around, I think Citizen tried to put their own flair on it by dressing it up a bit. So no date. You do have that guilloche dial and the small second hands. And the pattern on the dial are these concentric circular diamond-shaped dimples. Kind of looks like reptile skin almost. plays with the light in all sorts of different ways. My only critique is that the hands are just a little bit too small in comparison to the hour markers, so dial getting a 4 out of 5 on this watch with pretty good. Lume is Citizen's proprietary Lumi Bright, and towards the end I'll include a lume shot for you guys. On Citizen's website, this watch retails for about $565. I got this watch on Joma Shop for about $400, but it sells out really quick. This watch is in very high demand. You guys, for design, total is 22 out of 30 for a 73%. Not bad. Now moving on to the wear experience. Wear experience is going to be broken down into comfort, wardrobe combination, and is it a baby driver? I'll explain what that means, but first let's start with the comfort. Comfort is pretty good on this watch, coming in at a 4. Weight is not an issue, bracelet is definitely comfortable, but again, the lack of micro adjust just takes away a little bit of the comfort, especially on those hot days when your wrist swells up. Bracelet can get a little bit tight. Also, because of the flat nature of the case and the size of the movement, it doesn't hug the wrist quite as well as I would like, so you can see a small bit of space in between the lugs, your wrist, and the bracelet there. And obviously this is not a big deal, you guys. I'm just trying to be thorough for those who might be on the fence about this watch. Okay, and as far as wardrobe combination goes, strap options are limited due to the fact that this is an integrated bracelet. Citizen does make leather bracelets specifically for this watch, and if I'm being honest, I think that this watch would absolutely kill it on a leather bracelet. Just the dressier nature of it, and then the guilloche dial, I think it would just work perfectly. This is a teal color dial, and blue is an easy color to match with outfits. It definitely sticks out a little bit more than something like the color black, obviously, but I would say that the bracelet is what's going to make this watch a little bit harder to match with certain outfits. Presidential style bracelets are pretty flashy, and depending on what you're wearing, this watch could very easily go from accessory to centerpiece of your outfit, but you can absolutely get away with it, so I am giving it a score of 3. Alright guys, so is this watch a baby driver? What is a baby driver? It's that watch that you want to wear every day. There's just something about it, but you gotta kind of baby it around a little bit. You don't want to get it scratched up. You don't want to ding it. You know what I'm talking about. This category is going to get minus points, starting from 0 all the way to 5. I gave this watch a score of 3. You guys, it's just such a pretty watch, especially with all those high polish areas. I did not want to get any scratches on it, so I was a little bit more conscious of my wrist and my hand movements and what I was doing. A score of 3 is right at the threshold. I would say anything above a 4 I would consider a baby driver. Alright, next up is going to be the movement. Starting with the accuracy, I gave this watch a 4 out of 5 for the accuracy. That's pretty good. The Miyota 8322 movement is rated for plus or minus 20 seconds a day. I was getting plus 12.8 seconds per day, and it was pretty consistent, so for me that's pretty okay for a caliber 8 Miyota movement. Reliability score for this movement is going to be a 5. The Miyota Caliber 8 series in particular is absolutely a workhorse movement, which is crucial, I think, for a daily driver. It doesn't boast any special features or anything like that, but it focuses on consistency and reliability, and you can tell with that power reserve of 60 hours. It also hacks. Complications though, a score of 2 definitely needs improvement. This watch basically just tells the time, and I think for most people, a daily driver would at least need a date. Movement of this watch is going to be 20 out of 30, pretty good. Moving on now to the legibility. Legibility being broken down to, is this watch an easy reader? And I gave it a score of 5 out of 5. I mean, you're basically looking down at a Rolex Oyster Perpetual, and it doesn't get much easier than that, to be honest. So easy reader, yes, absolutely. Lume also is pretty good. Here is a lume shot for you guys. Obviously, this isn't a diver, but the lume will be legible all night. And as I wore this watch, there wasn't one time where I looked down in the dark and I couldn't read the time. Lume is going to get an 18 out of 20, you guys. That is excellent for a daily driver, in my opinion. And now, lastly, we have a bonus extra credit score. I call it the budget boost, which is if this watch is $400 or less, it's going to get 3.5 additional points as a boost. I think that a daily driver should be affordable at the very least for most. All right, so let's wrap it up and go through the final scores of the Citizen Tsuyosa Small Seconds. Is this going to score high on the daily driver test? Let's go through each one, starting with the design. Design is going to be 22 out of 30 for a 73%. That's pretty good. Wear experience is going to be a 9.5 out of 20. Definitely the baby driver effect and the wardrobe combination brought it down a bit, but still not too bad. Movement score 20 out of 30 for this one, and a legibility of 18 out of 20 with an additional budget boost of 3.5, bringing this daily driver score to 73 out of 100. So you guys, Citizen Tsuyosa Small Seconds, 73 out of 100. I think anything above a 70 is going to be a quality daily driver in my opinion. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you actually own this watch? Is it a great daily driver? What would you change? What would you not change? And guys, if you like content like this, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. Share your thoughts. Is there a watch that you want me to put through the daily driver test? Maybe it's one that you already own, or maybe it's one that you're thinking about getting. Let me know, guys, in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, take care, guys.